Are we in progress or are we in regress?
Yeah.
Man, I'm feeling some kind of way. Like, I know I really feel like we're getting gangstered.
Who's we?
We're getting gangstered by our government.
Oh,
We are.
I think we're getting conservative.
Let's see. Yeah, well, there's some conservative gangsters. For real.
Why you say that?
Oh my gosh. Where to even begin? So, as you guys know, we did do that one episode about the leaked opinion of, Roe versus Wade being overturned, but it actually happened today. What's today? June 24th, 2022.
On a Friday.
Dude, what was that? What is that, like 25? That's 50 years ago that the women's right to privacy, basically, to have,
1973.
to make choices for her own body was it was law. It was law. But now
you got a bunch of what they call it, trigger appeals.
the trigger, yeah.
They're ready
So
to go.
yeah, so as soon as
Alabama.
all those, as soon as Roe got overturned, each state had trigger. Well, not each state. There's like 22 states that had trigger laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? To where because what Roe did was it basically took the rights out of the right to choose from the federal government and gave it back to the states. Or with this being overturned, it gives the rights for women to choose down to the states, I guess, or abortion rights. I guess, is that the best way to explain it? Because it's so much. It's just so much to what's happening right now.
Before it was legal for, there was no choice. Each state has to abide. Now each state can make up their own laws, and if they want to make abortion legal or illegal in their state.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. So, California, basically a lot of the red states like Texas and like Oklahoma, Kentucky, some of the Dakotas, they are all the ones that have these trigger laws. And yeah, man, like I'm proud to be on the West Side. I'm proud to be from California. I know things are like extremely expensive here, but at least we do have basic human rights here, I would say, in comparison to like Georgia or Texas, which is awesome.
Do you think if this did happen, maybe less people will stop having sex? More like young people. The thing about one night stands and what do you call it, promiscuous activities and going out and getting laid on both sides of the both sexes. Do you think it'll stop?
I definitely don't think people are going to stop having sex. Absolutely not.
No,
but
in that capacity, you really think it's not going to stop?
No, you think people are going to stop fucking?
I think some people, especially in suburban areas, yes, they will stop, but they won't even start. They'll think twice.
Yes. Okay. I'll give you that.
More women will honestly also probably slow down. Maybe not in the next year, but as the time progresses and people do get in certain states do put a fine and make it illegal, and people get caught and have to do the time or pay the fine. Like I think sex will be less and less amongst young people. obviously not against marriage, not for marriage and all that stuff. I think it'll bring more of a solid substance in relationships.
You are optimistic. You are very optimistic.
Because right now we're so free and liberal, and we're losing our women. Our women are making bad decisions. They're having all these babies with guys who just will talk sweet in their ear, and they're having these babies because they think the baby will keep the guy. I mean, how many scenarios have we heard that go on? And it's like, no, that won't keep the guy. The guy didn't like you. He just wanted to fuck. And then now we have this baby, this fatherless child who has to deal with that, and the mom is bitter, and she'll never be able to or it'll be harder for her to find another man. You know what I mean? Like it's just all these problems occur. I feel like if this does happen in any state or whatever, as far as the legality of abortion, it'll slow down the thought process of, if I go out, I just want to try to get laid or whatever. Now it's going to be like, well, I'm going to go out and maybe meet somebody who I like and want to share my life with, instead of fast paced life, sex, Miami life, LA life, booty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I hope, like, just being from my perspective, I would hope people would think about their actions, but beforehand. And I think maybe that might be the only positive thing that could come of this right now, is that people will have to put more thought into not just have sex and have casual sex, because there could be a mistake.
Sure.
Or it could be a big issue, especially because, with this overturning of Roe, they're not going to stop here. Like, the government, the Supreme Court is conservative, and they have an agenda. And so the next thing that they probably are going to get rid of, which Clarence Thomas mentioned today, was to overturn, to get rid of contraception. Mm-hmm. So contraception is condoms, is birth control,
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
I'm aware of contraception.
Yeah, like IUDs and like all of that. Mm-hmm. So I think if they go to that point, I think that would really make people slow down with sex.
What's the agenda here to make a Handmaid's Tale?
Well, that's what I'm not really finding. But what
like conservatives are more like Christian, right? So this is like a Christian thing.
Well, it's more so
Christian.
No, it's a Christian faction, yeah. But it's not necessarily Christians. I found that it's also like feminism, certain feminist groups, and it all started too with the anti-abortion movement, the right to life movement, which is a conservative movement. It's not necessarily Christian, but it's basically a faction in the far right extremist wing of the Republican Party, who have been working for decades to overturn Roe versus Wade. So you know how like the Tea Party took over the Republican Party in certain factions? Well, it's another faction that's an extreme group. The anti-abortion, the right to life, the pro-lifers. It's a militant group at that. Because when you're on the side of or when you're like in certain big cities, you'll see those guys on the side of the road with those signs on like, Jesus saves you, or, confess your sins. And they're like yelling at people. Well, and all those people that like go and blow up abortion clinics, like those are the people that are pushing this movement. And it's a lot of people in the Republican Party that support this movement.
But but they're all like faith-based too, like Christians, Catholicism, because Catholics don't like to abort babies. So
Right.
there is that faith, right? Their underlying base faith of Christians and Catholics.
Well, see, like that's the thing. Christianity, there's so many different types. This is what I learned today. Well, not necessarily learned, but that kind of gave me a better understanding. Is that there's fundamentalist Christians, there's an evangelical Christians, there's Protestant, there's Presbyterian, there's Baptist, there's Church of God in Christ, there's, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different types of Christians, and they all have different stances supported by scripture of what they believe. If they are pro-choice or pro-life. So not all Christians are pro-life that I found. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting. But our government, our nation is basically founded on, or they try to intertwine that, the church and state thing. They try to keep it separate, but we are professed to be a Christian nation, right?
Sure.
But
Jesus based.
yeah, they try, you know what I mean? Like there's definitely a faction that is pushing this agenda that's that is Christian based, but it's not all Christians. It's not all Christians. That's the thing. That's what's kind of like, for me being a Christian, like it sucks that, like I had a friend hit me up today talking about, Christianity is a cult and, this is and that and this and that. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, like the people that are doing this, they are cult-like. They are cult-like. They're militant. They're the ones that are blowing up abortion clinics, telling them God, they're doing it for God and all that stuff. But no, they're doing it for themselves and their own agenda. So all this is just like, I guess the way it all started too, it's based in political, the Republican Party aligned themselves with the Catholic Church and, the pro-lifers for power because they got more voters. So the agenda is basically, we get your numbers, we get your voters, we get your power, and we stay in power, we stay in leadership, we run the executive, judicial, and legislative branch. It's really all about power and staying in power and trying to get the votes to stay in power. And that's why originally the Republican Party did combine with the Catholics and with the right to life, pro-life movement, the anti-abortion movement people. Like that's literally what it comes down to, like why we are here. Power.
So what now? What happens now? We just wait
Well,
to which ones the trigger happy ones go off. They're protesting now in downtown LA.
Right.
Supposedly.
Yeah, and the protesting, I feel like it's a good thing to do just to show like, the people are mad. But what's crazy is the minority, like the Supreme Court only has 9 justices and they're deciding the whole fate of America, these 9 judges. Like, that's crazy to me.
And we have what, 1 or 2 more conservative, right? Is it 2?
They have, let's see, okay, if there's 9, I think there's 6. There's only 2. There's only 2 or 3 Democratic justices.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard are they gonna go with their gay marriages?
Yeah. So okay, this is what Clarence Thomas said
Because
today.
being gay is not good in the Bible, right? Even though it is brought up in the Bible.
Right. It's a sin. It's a sin like any other sin in the Bible. And what he's gonna do, what Clarence Thomas said was that they're gonna come after conception or contraceptives. They're gonna come after consensual sex, and they're gonna come for gay marriages and possibly interracial marriages. He didn't say that, but what's crazy is he's married to a white woman. So what's he gonna do? Like,
I don't think that's one of them. I don't think that's one of them. That can't be one of them.
well, there it's okay.
Are we gonna die? Me and you are gonna die?
No, we're not gonna die,
You're
but
gonna put us in acid?
they might criminalize it like they're doing abortions. Because the bigger picture here is not necessarily abortion rights, it's about privacy. And with Roe overturned, our privacy is now not like for women currently, we no longer have the right to choose what we do with our bodies. And that's what's going to happen. Like with if gay marriages, that privacy of who you date and who you are sexual with is now the government's business.
Why do you think the conservatives care so much? Like, why do they care about what you do in the privacy of your bedroom? Why do you think they care about your baby? Because after you have it, they don't care.
Right. I don't even think they even believe in any of that and care about any of that. It's just all to have political power. And they needed people, like there's a lot of people who identify with Christians. Let's just say there's a lot of Christians who are pro-life. So they got those voters. They wanted those voters. Like, it's just to stay in power. It's not that there might be some that are really like fundamentalists.
The conservatives?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there might be who are blowing up the clinics. Yeah.
Yeah, like those kind of, like there's a big group that people talk to are like on the Republican Party is the Bible Belt Christians, the white evangelicals. Like they want those voters, so they put that on their platform. Like Republicans, conservatives, they believe in fiscal responsibility. What are some of the other things? No big government, no regulations, freedom, liberty. But then it's like they're selective though. Like they're selective about liberty and freedom. Like they didn't want mask mandates. They didn't want vaccine mandates, but you can mandate my body or what I want to do with my body. Like, it's just like, that's what's like bothering me and blowing me away. It's like, it's so hypocritical. You know what I mean?
Well, humans aren't perfect.
Yeah, they're not perfect, but they're hypocrites. Like, and it's on like it's on a grand scale. And it just bothers me too that so many, like, some Christians out here, do they really know what the Bible is actually saying? Or are they just going off of thinking, oh, I'm a Christian, so I believe life begins at conception, And I think a lot of Christians just think just because you're Christian, you should be pro-life. But there's a lot of Christians who believe that life doesn't begin at conception. Life begins at, the quickening, or when the fetus moves in the body, or and even before Roe versus Wade, they believed it was when the baby came out of the body. That's when it was its own individual life.
Well, you got science versus faith, right? Science versus personal vendetta and opinion. So that's what it boils down to, right? It's like how they feel. They'll never put themselves in other people's shoes to where like, oh, this was an accident, and both parties don't have the baby, don't want the kid, and it's more about being able to take care of it. But then they'll rush to say adoption. But if you look at the statistics on adoption, there's so many kids in adoption now, so many kids who age out, so many kids who never get adopted. Like, there's this podcast I was watching. She picked the one female adopted kid who was a success story. But how many of them aren't? I was like, if you're gonna do that, do the other side. Do the side where, somebody did time and had a bad, horrible childhood, fighting all day, all the time in the boarding homes, being, going to different foster houses. Each one was abusive. Talk to that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always this like agenda. It's like what's a woman documentary? If you're gonna talk to a trans man who's having a bad experience, talk to a trans man who isn't. Talk to a trans woman who isn't having a bad experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like documentaries that go both sides. So with me, like, because I could see both sides of this being bad and good. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like, we as humans do need some form of regulation, because we're just buck wilding out here. Relationships are being destroyed. Women are having kids out of horrible decisions, and sex is wild. And I kind of lightweight feel like sex is ruining relationships and the country. You know what I mean? Look how crazy OnlyFans is, porn, the porn industry. I think it does destroy civilization.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, sex
They're more
does.
concerned with getting our dick wet than reading the book. Us as men, like, we're more concerned about, why women don't talk to me, rather than like building myself up and building up my mind, my personality, my income, investing in myself and in the stock in my retirement fund. Like, we're more concerned with, that chick turned me down last night. Yeah, fuck that bitch. Like, I'm gonna.
Well, I mean,
most red pill now and black
Yeah.
pill now. It's like we're not focusing on ourselves to build a better nation. You know what I'm saying? We're like slowly becoming dilapidated buildings. You know what I mean? Like, we're just crumbling.
Yeah, no, I mean, humans are definitely pleasure seekers. And I think people always wanting to, I mean, everybody, it seems like a lot of people's goal is to have sex. Like, I do think that is kind of out of line, especially somebody coming from me, who's, I guess, I don't know if I'm celibate or abstinent, but I'm not out here I'm not out here looking for sex, but I mean, if somebody came across my path, I don't know, we'll see. But, I definitely am more into the emotional or the intellectual chemistry before I would ever, be physical with somebody at this point in life.
Yeah,
You know
how
what I'm
come we can't
saying?
get back to that? And look, and remember when they regulated, smoking cigarettes indoor? How many lives did we save from
Yeah, a
secondhand
lot.
smoke? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I see that side. I also see the side that, obviously it's a woman's choice, but sometimes y'all women aren't making good choices. You know what I'm saying? You guys are keeping the baby. You guys are having crazy abortions. You're messing up your insides. Like, it's not healthy. I knew somebody who had like 3 abortions, and then the last one she had, the 4th time she got pregnant, she decided to keep it because she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to have another baby.
Mhm.
And she's not even with the guy.
Right.
You
No,
know what I
a
mean?
lot. Yeah, there's women
Like,
in that
women are
situation.
making horrible choices, and at a young age too. I'm not talking about 30, 40. I'm talking about like 20, ruining
Mhm.
their lives. You know what I'm saying? Instead of thinking about the future and like, I want a marriage, or I want to, or I want to travel the world, or build a career. No, it's like, I'm gonna fuck this guy because he looks attractive and good and has nice bodies, and he's 6 foot and has 6 abs. Like, I'm about to, I'm about to let him knock these boots. You know what I'm saying? And then, boom, boom, 6 months later, whatever, or 3 months later, you're pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for you. Now you got to go through all the BS like every other. Now you're a cliche. Now you're a statistic. Instead of you being free, or you actually find a husband now you ruin your chances. You're lessening your chances. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Instead of you thinking ahead, you think with your little head, your clitoris head.
Um, I mean,
I
but see,
mean,
you're also speaking from a place of people of maturity. You're
sure.
speaking of a person with sense. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But and that's I mean, honestly, like it's our responsibility to make good choices. But when you're young and when you're uneducated and you don't have the resources, you don't really make the best choices. You know what I'm saying? But
I think that's a cop out. And I hear a lot of people say
no,
that.
but
I think it's a
honestly,
cop because why is there in like especially in the inner city urban areas, why is there like I feel like maybe 40% of people making it out of the hood and then the other 60 not. And
it comes down
what
to
was the
the
other 40 complaining about it? My friend's mom has been in the hood, lived in the hood, grew up in the hood all her life, went through all kinds of shit. She made it. She worked for the state. She's doing good. She's about to retire. She's living comfortably. What's the other people's excuse?
well, it comes down to the will of people, you know.
Exactly, 100%.
But if you don't know, if you don't have like any knowledge, or if you weren't raised, or if you don't have any type of moral compass, you're not gonna make the right decisions. If you don't have if you don't have parents at home, you don't have uncles, you don't have aunts, you don't have an adult figure telling you what's right and what's wrong, or even your parents having conversations with you about the birds and the bees, how do you know? How do you know that having sex is wrong?
You still have school. I think all that is a cop
But
out.
schools are getting rid of sex education.
I've just dealt with so many people who had a different bring up than me, which was like 10 times worse than mine, and they're doing amazing. No kids, career, retiring, or kids, family, retiring. That's to me, that's a cop out, and we need to stop that, especially amongst our people, Black people. That is a cop out. You're making that decision. You're choosing that way because as little as there are in the hood, there are resources. You cannot tell me that these certain people that I know, and I'm not talking about celebrities, like I know who are civilians are doing well and making it. Even people who were former gang members are doing well and making it. They're about to retire. They got two kids. They just bought a new car. What is the other people's excuse? That's bullshit. That's just more. That's them not taking accountability.
But what is accountability to somebody who doesn't even know what accountability is? Like that's all I'm trying to say. It's like you're speaking from a place of privilege, of a place of information. Like a lot of people out here are really out here with no information, and it's just willy-nilly floating around.
Again,
Like,
how many people do we know from the hood who were like, "Oh, I'm about to make this happen," whether it was their own business, barber business, or running their own food truck business.
right, but that's not everybody. That's not everybody. Like they might have was able to watch a documentary or Netflix show at their friend's house one time. Who knows? Like you get sparked with different opportunities, or different environments will show you how to do different things, or people are just figure it out. But a
Yeah,
lot of
if
people
you
don't
want it,
figure it out.
yeah, if you want it, you will get it. You
But
can't
how
get
do
it.
you know? How
You
do you
make it
know?
happen.
But if there's nothing out here, if you have no
How is there nothing
goal,
out here? What
no,
does
no,
that
listen,
mean? Okay, I'm
listen.
listening.
If
I'm listening.
I'm just saying, if you know there's people out here who don't want anything more for themselves, or even know there's something else out here, how do you go for that?
What do you mean?
There's
What do you
so
mean?
many
How
people
else?
who never even leave the hood,
Yeah, that's on them.
but they don't have money, they don't have resources, they don't have friends. Like it's not necessarily just on them. But
I think those are excuses. I think,
I
and
don't
I
know.
think we're enabling them by mentioning it, like you know what I mean? Like there's no savior or whatever. Like, no, you save yourself. It's possible because people are doing it all the time, right? If you really want it and you really want to get out, you can get out, right? You put that in the atmosphere, right? You manifest destiny, right? Because there's people who are
But not many
like
people
you.
know
I
about
mean,
that. But a lot of people don't know about manifest destiny. That's all I'm saying. Is like you're coming from a privileged, like almost entitled place. Like you've been around these things. You have access to these things. Not everybody has access to these things. And that's what's the problem with overturning Roe versus Wade
yeah.
is people don't have access to, safe abortions now.
But
So
if a person who's in dire straits says that, and then the next person who was in dire straits used to say that, but this person made it, he or she made it. What's that person who is in dire straits excuse now? Especially now when you have better technology. You know what I'm saying? 80s, 90s, early 2000s, we were still struggling and trying to make it happen. Nobody's thinking about stocks and crypto and OnlyFans.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between them and you and that other person who's like, oh, I got, I don't know anything about accountability and blah blah blah. Like, there's if you want it, you can get it. The resources are there, as little as they are.
But all I'm saying is if you're surrounded by people who aren't getting it and have never got it, how do you know it's out there? Like not everybody has cell phones. Not everybody has internet.
Right, but you can go to a Starbucks and use it. You can get a Metro phone. You can get
How?
what do you mean? You can get a job. People are working in inner cities all the time.
Yeah, but you're gonna get paid bare minimum. I mean, yeah, most people do get the
cable.
phone. Right, but that's what I'm
bus.
saying. You got to use your money for other things.
Yes,
like
exactly. Sacrifice.
So right, but you don't have you don't have necessarily have Wi-Fi at the house.
That's what I'm saying. I said go to cafe.
But you need a phone. You need a phone.
Metro Plus, get a Metro, whatever.
I don't know, but what's your point? Like what? Because like we're just kind of going back and forth over it.
Sure,
yeah, like not going anywhere. I'm like, what's the point? Like you're just saying that it's excuses. Like, okay, that's all right. It's an excuse that some people make it, some people don't. But like for real. Like that's what we've had this conversation. Like it just comes down to will.
Yes, right.
But so I'm saying not everybody comes from a place of like opportunity and resources.
And that will can be the same for even like rich people, like or people who are in the lottery or people who are in middle class and just want to stay in middle class and don't care about going up or down. They just want to stay here.
Right.
Will.
And even like on our level, like a working class level, like there's still lots of things that we want. And there's lots of things we want to accomplish, but we necessarily haven't accomplished it. We see that it's out there, but it hasn't happened. You know what I mean?
I guess I bring it up because when watching the news, everybody's talking about this is going to affect the inner city more. And I'm just like, why is it going to?
Or why are we no, I felt that same way.
Why is it going to affect the inner city more? They just, stop having sex. But if they're doing the same thing, then yeah, they're stuck with babies. And then what? And then they get more welfare, right?
Well, what they mean by it affects the inner cities more is that now that you can't get an abortion in Texas, right? But you can get an abortion in, let's say, Virginia. Like they would have to, most people like ourselves, we would get a plane ticket, we would get a train ticket, we would drive, pay gas to go to Virginia. Virginia from Texas is a 3-day trip. Okay. Not many people, like people that are impoverished, I guess they have the statistics that people of color in certain areas, like this is going to affect marginalized people who don't necessarily have freaking $300 to drive to Virginia
Yeah,
to get an
stop
abortion.
having sex.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Why?
Or what if this person was raped?
Okay, we're not going to talk about the outliers. That's different, right? Sexual abuse and all that. That's totally different. I will never talk about that. Obviously, that's not on the table. I don't think they're.
Right.
I don't even think they're talking about that either. If you could prove that you got raped and you don't want the kid, obviously, I think they're gonna. I think they're going to obviously
Not in some
different.
states. No.
I mean, we'll see. But
No. Literally right now, in some states, the only reason you could get an abortion is if you're near death.
Right.
Not if you were raped, not incest stuff, none of that. It's if the woman dies.
Or statutory, yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal people, ordinary people like John Legend.
Just having sex.
Or just having sex just to have sex. Just stop having sex. And if you don't and you get pregnant, you take the Jimmy off or you're not, whatever, pay the consequences, like literally.
Right.
You know
well, but you think people have that much self-control? Like, do you know there's so many people that are like sex addicts? Like for me, this isn't a problem, you know, like I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
used to be a sex addict.
Right. People can't not have sex. Like to some people to not have sex for 3 days is like, like if I told people how long it's been since I've had sex, they will be like, how do you do that? You know,
that just sounds like immature and plentiful and entitled.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the environment we're living
in 3 hours, man. That's crazy.
Right. It's literally like I heard somebody say that they were like, man, I haven't had sex in like a day. And I'm like,
yeah, that's immature.
So I mean, yes, okay.
That's on them.
Like sex is definitely like or abortion should never be a form of contraception.
This is what I'm saying. Don't you think we're abusing sex?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So don't you think something like this will maybe pacify that?
Yeah, and I think that is the only benefit that I could see that people will possibly think before they just go out there and have random sex with people.
Maybe we'll give relationships more substance. Marriages will be longer and divorces will be less because we're going to stick with our person. You know, instead of thinking, oh, man, the grass is greener on the other side, or you know, I've gained all this muscle, or I've lost all this weight, and now I'm getting all this attention from he and her. Like maybe I should divorce my husband or wife. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll have less shallowness in marriages and more fighting and counseling and staying togetherness instead of trying to go on, you know, thinking, you know, there's something better out there. Right?
I don't know if that's the connection.
For our marriage. Maybe we'll fight for our relationship.
So you're talking about people who are stepping out on their marriage? They might not step out on the marriage?
I'm talking about this is the reason why, right? Because of sex. You know, I've had this dick for this long, or I've had, you know, this person for this amount of years. I look different, or I feel different, or maybe we're growing apart. Instead of working it out with my significant other, I'm just gonna bounce because now I have apps. Now dating apps. I have IG. I have Facebook. Now I can meet all kinds of people. Just put a butt picture on there, and then some guy will fly me out, or you know what I'm saying. I'm getting all this attention. My husband's not giving me any attention. You know what I'm saying? It's sex on the brain all the time. You know what I'm saying? For different partners, making the body count go higher for women and men. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy access.
Right. But I mean, there's so many people who don't even consider marriage or thinking about marriage.
Yeah. I wonder why. Why is that? Because we're having too much sex. We have multiple partners. We have access to all these different people. So now,
possibly.
Now it's like, why am I settling down? I got Tamara, I got Barbara, I got Lisa, I got Renee, Pamela. You know what I'm saying? Like I got all these choices. Why am I settling with Tiffany?
Right. But people, even when we have, I don't know. I don't think maybe it'll make people change their minds and think differently of how their promiscuity or rethink their promiscuity, but I don't think so. I just don't have that much faith in people. I don't think, I mean, it'll make them think. It might, but
Is that
I feel like as
as
long as
soon as
they have their condoms and women could take birth control, people are gonna do it.
as soon as that regulation hits and that restriction hits, it's gonna be a problem. People are gonna start thinking twice, and people, they're gonna start meditating more, maybe being
No,
more
people don't
religious.
meditate, bro. Like
I
you're
meditate.
thinking of what you do. You are thinking what you do, but people aren't out here on like a higher level, like a higher vibration
Maybe it's
type stuff.
because they're so distracted with booty. Why? Because why do we make money as far men? Let me speak on the behalf of men. Why do we make money? Why do we drive fancy cars? Why do we dress the way we certain people dress like everybody else? Why do
To
we
meet women.
strive? Thank you.
Yeah.
It's all for you guys, right? Imagine a world where a man actually does all that stuff for himself. It actually has substance. So when he comes to talk to you guys, the ladies, he actually has something to say and not talking about his car or his job. He actually has a personality. He actually is talking about crystals or faith or meditation or yoga or the world or the planet in the polar ice caps instead of talking about how he makes six figures and blah, 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 right? That's the problem with men.
Or
We are distracted. We are working out. We are making money or good enough money. We're buying, we're releasing Teslas. You know what I'm saying, to get that attention, and we're buying clothes that we're getting from the a thrift store or whatever online. That's because it's cheaper, and then we're fronting for you guys just to be noticed. We're getting the coiffed in the hair. We're taking care of our skin and our bodies for you guys. But there's no
okay.
substance. There's no substance because all we care about is the booty. So when you see this picture that you like, because women like muscles or some, looking fit, the height, the facial, whatever, we pull you. We have nothing to offer you except dick.
All right. Well, maybe as human life evolves and we have, no abortion rights in this country, maybe people will get to that level. But I think immediate reaction, short term, that's not gonna
Oh no, the
happen.
immediate reaction is protesting outside on the freeways and block the streets.
No, but I'm just saying people aren't gonna stop having sex. Like
Oh,
I don't see that.
yes.
I don't see that.
I'm not saying they will. I'm saying there's going to be a good amount of people who are not, because the consequences are dire.
But
Right?
people had consequences with COVID and people have consequences with getting AIDS and other viruses and they still have sex. Like I don't think people are that intelligent or something. Like
Oh my! So
I
you're
just
kind
don't
of
have
cynical.
I don't have the hope. I don't have hope in people like that. I don't think people have self-control like that, discipline, or any of that. I
I'm
think
not putting people in a monolith. I'm saying like there's going to be a good percentage, maybe 40 to 40% of people who that affects, like the COVID, when when it didn't affect somebody in the immediate family of yours, you still was like, oh, I better put my mask on because we're losing people in Los Angeles, we're losing people in Sacramento, so I'm gonna start putting my mask on because even though somebody close to me didn't die, there's those people like me and you were those people, right? We put the mask on real quick. You know what I'm saying? We don't want
yeah.
that. So what I'm saying with this law, if when it comes, I'm not saying everybody is, but there's going to be a good, nice small amount who are going to start thinking twice.
Let's hope. That's all I can say. Like I really hope. Like I said, honestly, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm not saying everybody. Of course not. Of course not.
Right.
Not
Okay,
everybody's
so
going to be that way. No.
right. So
I
like
will never say that because I feel the same way you do. I do not have. I am more cynical than anybody. Like I know there's going to be a good amount of people who are just going to deal with it. They're going to hurt themselves. I just posted something on IG about pre Roe versus Wade when women didn't have the right to get abortion. They were doing it themselves, harming themselves. That's
yes.
going to happen again. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
Yeah, people are gonna still get abortions.
yes, because people are still going to bump ugly. So I understand that. I'm just saying there's going to be a good chunk of people who are going to change their lives because of this and think twice. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, people are gonna think twice and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna pull out." That's what's gonna
Pull
happen.
out, or is I'm going to have a kid with this chick who I don't care about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or just don't do it. Or
that's not gonna
I don't,
happen.
or we go on a date. I don't like her and she don't like me, or we don't get along, or I mean, we're not vibing. So, I'm not going to Netflix and chill.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
there might be
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Our culture is just so sex focused. So I just don't see us pulling back from sex as an option at all. But it's possible. But yeah, it's possible.
I think this is going to change people's mindsets because they're also you're going to try to regulate people leaving the states to go get abortion somewhere else.
Yeah, like they're gonna kill people. Or not kill people. Well, some people are gonna kill people. Yeah, they have vigilantes out here who are gonna like go and search your, or even cops even too. They're gonna be able to access your medical records. Like if women have miscarriages even, they're gonna like violate their privacy.
Where'd you get
Like
this from?
this is from the what's reported on MSNBC today.
They're going to have vigilantes kill
Like they
people
in
who had
Texas,
abortions.
yes, yes. In Texas, that's what they were doing. They would report if you were going to an abortion clinic, you could like tell the police and they will arrest them. Like it's really ridiculous, like what's
You got
happening
to
right
be
now.
really bored to be like,
They're doing it.
we're going to round up some abortionalists
Yeah,
and we're
yeah,
going to dump them in acid.
yeah. They're doing it. They are doing it. And cops, like even like I was saying, if you have a miscarriage, and it seems sus and whatever, you're gonna be questioned by the police. This is where we are at in America right now. Like our women's right, like that's why this is such a big deal. Like we're being like they are taking us back to the Constitution. And in the Constitution, I think it was the 14th Amendment. The way that it's written is that basically women are like, well, black women, this is in the Constitution, we were property. So we were in, was it indentured involuntary servitude? Where that basically we were property to to the white slave owners, black women. So they could do whatever they want with us. But white women, it was a different story. They were able to have an abortion or something like that. But it's a mess. Like we don't have any rights as women, and that's the biggest deal. We don't have any rights. So it's us right now. Next is gonna be gay people and possibly interracial marriage.
I brought up Handmaid's Tale one time on social media, and somebody said, no, that was a movie. This is real life. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, we're living in a movie, we're living in a simulation. No, this is happening. Like
like Handmaid's Tale's coming.
yeah, like our government is not playing any games right now. And even and it's so blatant because they just in New York, they passed a law where you can 100-year law that was on the books that was left up to the states to decide. The Supreme Court just overruled that New York can carry in public. They can carry weapons, guns in public. So it's just weird. It's like the states could choose your rights to abortion, but now the Supreme Court's judging overruled the states. So it's just too much. It's just, but that's their agenda. That's their platform. Like Trump did what he was supposed to do. He appointed those 3 judges, and they're take, like, it almost shows you that the executive branch doesn't have as much power, which is the president. The Congress has more power than the president,
Yep.
but the judiciary branch, they have a lot. They have most, I don't know.
The
I
Supreme
feel like,
Court runs teams.
yeah,
Ray
yeah,
run teams, no teams. They run we.
yeah, because you can't overturn, like, the president can't veto what the Supreme Court did. Congress can't. But what we can do as voters is we can elect our city and state and federal senator, officials. And the senators are the ones who confirm the judiciary branch. So it's important to make sure you vote for senators that are in line with your goals. Otherwise, you're going to get hands made tell Supreme Court justices. And the thing about the Supreme Court justices, they've all are like shady, and they lied. That was the biggest thing. They all, like, the three people that were appointed, even Clarence Thomas, who was appointed back in the 80s, they lied about Roe versus Wade. Like, they never answered it in their confirmation hearing. So they lied to us and got confirmed. So.
What do you mean they lied? They lied about what?
They lied that they wouldn't overturn Roe versus Wade.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Politicians lie to get in the office.
Right.
I could do what it wants. It's a pool party.
Yeah. So, and also what this goes even deeper, like people voted for Trump over Hillary Clinton because of her emails or whatever. But now we got to live through what Trump did. Trump did his job. He made the Republican Party very successful in what they're doing now.
He laid down his bricks. Now they're building the building.
Yeah. Yeah. They work together, strategic.
And it's funny because, like, the emails, I remember talking to people, like, the emails was the last straw for everybody.
Right.
Like, oh, she's lying and Trump was right and all this bullshit, man.
Yep. And now look.
That was his Trump card.
Yep, exactly. And he's corrupt and he's about to go to jail. Or he basically caused the insurrection to keep him in office. And he was able to appoint 3 Supreme Court judges. Like, it's just, and they were all controversial. Clarence Thomas, at his confirmation hearing, he was accused of sexual allegations. Brett Kavanaugh, sexual allegations. That Amy Coney Barrett, whatever lady, she wasn't even qualified to be on the Supreme Court. She had no experience. Like, it's just but they all were for the same mission, and to keep Republicans in power so that they can control America and the wealthy and the corporations and everybody.
100%. Yep.
Like, that's what it comes down to. And America, all its policies were based on race, because white supremacy and patriarchy is king, and here in America, and money. That's it. Money, power, and race. Money, power, respect. Yeah, all that. That's all it is. They don't care if you're pro-lifers. I mean, some of these people are, like the right to life people, they probably really feel some kind of way about, a fetus.
I mean, like, the people in the office, though, they don't care.
Yeah, politicians, Trump. Yeah,
moving up, money.
I don't care.
Yeah, get in the office. Yeah,
and like even scientifically, like, they can't even prove if an embryo feels anything, or even a fetus feels anything.
Yeah, they don't care. They're not even thinking about that. They just want this agenda.
Right. But I'm just saying
their agenda to go through.
Right. I'm just saying, and even it's just crazy. And something else I found out today that was very interesting to me, but since, America is founded on Christian principles, or supposedly. Other religions like Judaism and Islam, and those are the ones I was only able to look into, but they also have they're more pro-choice.
Mhm.
And I was kind of surprised to see that. But they're definitely but then again, you know, there's different factions of Judaism and Islam, and they have different beliefs. Like everybody has different beliefs in their faiths, but and even Christianity before 1973 was very pro-choice,
Hmm.
which is very interesting, you know. But
that particular those particular factions, because the religion and people aren't a monolith. So
yeah, exactly. Nobody's a freaking monolith. And like that's why it's people don't understand, like, when people talk about Christianity, it's usually about these people, these right-wing nuts that gives us a bad name. And those are the people that are racist. Like, how do you be racist and a Christian? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, in heaven, like, God made all of us. God made every single one of us, like all of these races. It's gonna be all these people in heaven. It's not gonna just be a black heaven and a white heaven. Heaven's not gonna be segregated.
what if God was one of us? So
Hey, that's my song.
they think that it's gonna be it's gonna be segregated up there?
Right. Like, how goofy is that? Like,
You think you're gonna keep your skin in your face when you go to heaven?
yeah, I don't know. And that's another thing I've learned too about my faith, is that it says in the Bible, it's like we can't fight over these differences, you know? Like we can't, you can't fight over these things. You just have to like follow Jesus and his teachings basically. But there's no reason to fight over all these. Nobody knows who's right and who's wrong necessarily. You know, like just don't fight over it. Just do the commandment that he suggested, which is to love one another. And right now, I don't see no love. It's not love to take women's rights away of how they want to live their life. Like, how does that affect you? What I
I
do
mean,
doesn't affect you.
it can with if you do have a baby and we have, our money goes into that welfare. It affects me if that kid grows up without a father and acts up and decides to kill somebody I love because he is mad at his mom because his mom's a whore. It can affect us.
But not all women who have sex are whores. You know that, right?
No, I didn't know that, Stacy. I think
I'm just like, you know that, right?
every woman who has sex is a whore.
But the way you said it was like, damn. Like women, just because they have sex, or I don't know.
I am aware that women have relationships with the guy, have babies. The guy doesn't want to show. It's not her fault because she thought he was going to be there. I understand that. There's all kinds of circumstances. I'm talking about the circumstances where you have two strangers having sex just to have sex, and there's no responsibility, there's no accountability, or there's the woman who's making babies on purpose so that she can get child support and or welfare and or WIC and or food stamps so her life can be better. And she's using the kids as well because she gets paid for each kid in her apartment while she, gains weight watching the Real Housewives of Covina. You know what I mean? Like she does nothing but have babies. There's that. You know what I'm saying? Like I am, but there's the other side. I understand.
But that's why there should be women should have the right to abort a child, so they don't have to put a baby in the system and impact the welfare taxes that we have to pay or whatever.
To the young girl who had sex because she thought she had like this guy who was just spitting game in her ear, and the guy he has horrible pull-out game, and he's trying to do his Nick Cannon, and now she's stuck with a baby or pregnant. She should have the option to, right? But these people are saying she shouldn't have did that in the first place. So too bad you have to have the kid. That's what the conservatives are saying, right? But the other side is saying, why do you care, right? And the conservatives are saying because it's harmful. It's tax money. You're creating more.
But how's it?
What is that? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the problem? How does those people having kids affect them?
Right.
Or having abortions affect them?
Right. It doesn't.
It's like they're trying to teach them a lesson.
Who?
Like the conservative. This is what it seems like to me. It seems like to me the heavy Jesus pieces and conservative people are pushing this agenda to punish people who are too liberal or with too much freedom, who are having these sex parties and going sex crazy, and destroying the family unit by not even participating, right?
Yeah, but there's so much more to it, though. That's the thing they don't get, or something. Like there's way more than
the conservatives.
The right to lifers, whatever. They don't know that there or something. They don't understand that, I guess people, when they have sex, maybe they're not having sex with multiple callers, but they have sex with that one person and they don't want to have a baby. Yeah, they're not ready to be a parent.
They're saying tough because you made that decision.
Is that what they're saying?
It has to be. Why else would I care what you do in the privacy of your home with some stranger?
Well, they just believe that we shouldn't kill fetuses or kill babies. They don't like murder.
Right, but if you don't see it, you won't know what's happening. Right? So why do you care?
They want to save babies' lives so that they could be here, and
so they can use the babies as batteries for the
they can use the babies as shooting targets with the guns that they want.
Put the babies in a capsule and then just suck the energy out so we can start having like babies.
Right, like it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't, like a lot of the social causes on the Democratic a lot of social causes don't necessarily affect all of us.
That's what I want to talk to a conservative. How does it affect you personally? Oh, because
it's just on their mind, I guess.
Want to kill babies. Okay, but if this person or I want babies to live. Okay, but if this person has this baby and doesn't want it, are you going to adopt it? No. Are you going to take care of it? No, it's not mine. Okay, then this woman who just happened to have sex with this guy and the pull-out game was taught and was horrible and weak, and she's she's 19 years old and she's about to go to college. She doesn't want to have the baby. You're saying punish her anyway because she had sex. Because that's all you're saying. Because
and they feel
you would have never known this woman, this young lady had a kid. You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, but they just know that it's happening, I guess.
Yeah, you just know it's happening and you think you're doing God's work.
Right. And they believe, the people who are doing it for religious reasons, they believe that, when you conceive, every baby is God's blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But if you don't know it's there, you keep going.
That's the radicalness of it all. Yeah, that's the extremist. That's the extremeness of it all.
If you don't like gay people and you hate gay sex, you ain't got to see it. You don't have to go online or anything. You don't got to see it. Why does it bother you?
Well, I think they're trying to enforce God's laws on us, on secular people. Like that's
evangelism. Like
right. Yeah. Like they're
why can't you just stay home and watch TV?
Like there's people who really don't want sin in the world, but the beautiful thing is, you know, and God forgives
Break it
us.
down, Stace. Break it down, Stace.
Like, no, God, he forgives people and he redeems people. So it's like their anger and I don't even think it's righteous anger. It's just anger, because righteous anger is permitted, but you know, when there's injustice, but that's not injustice. Like a person deciding that it's not right for me to have a child for whatever reason, it's that person's decision. It's nobody else's decision. So they shouldn't be so angry and judgmental. Like they're doing and blowing up and murdering people. Like they're murdering people. Like it's just, dude, it's just backwards.
Isn't like it's kind of psychopathic because it's like they're into Jesus so hard and this word of God and how every baby is a blessing as soon as it's conceived. Like they're so psychopathic that they will kill people, blow up buildings, yell at you, scream at you, throw your book bags down like a bully, knock the soda out your hand, like all that shit to prove that they are more righteous than you are and self-righteous, arrogant, and Looney Tunes.
Yeah, those are all sins. So they're sin, and that's the thing about sin. Like, you know, if you believe in faith and stuff, like sin, there's no sin that's greater than any other sin. Like I think the only sin that's abomination is speaking against the Holy Spirit. But other than that, they're all equal. They're all equal.
Anybody who cares what I do and the privacy of my home is a psychopath, and doesn't have their own life to deal with, and they don't, and they're petty, and they're empty. Something is going on inside of their mind to where like I care what you're doing because it doesn't align with my beliefs.
Right.
So I'm going to blow up your car.
Right. Well, a lot of people are passionate about different things in life. Like
I'm passionate too, but if it comes down to hurting somebody over my art or my music, it's not gonna happen.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Like,
but it's not that deep.
But that's the radicalness of it all, and that's where people are off. Yeah, that's where people are off, and it's just it doesn't make sense. Like when you really get down to it, when you get down to it, it's just none of it makes sense because it's not supposed to make sense to a rational minded person, a logical person.
So to you, these religious people are not following the word correctly.
Yeah, like that's not love. Like the greatest commandment is to love your neighbor.
How would you solve this problem to a person with that mentality? Like let's say you meet somebody who's kind of tired and he's ready to open up, but he just needs somebody to listen. What do you say to that person, that conservative person, to get back on the true word of Jesus Christ?
You can't. I mean, you could just say.
But you can. You gotta plant the seed. Plant the seed.
Well, just say, let's go to the word. I would ask them, let's, show me the scriptures, and whatever scriptures they show me, I would ask them, how do you interpret this? And then just let them know, like, you have to be loving of people. You have to love people through their mistakes. You have to love people through, wrong decisions. Like, we're not perfect. There's nothing about humans that are perfect. And people need to have more like compassion and more forgiveness.
But Stacy, these people are having babies out of wedlock. They don't have any responsibility. They're going crazy out here. They're just fucking all kinds of people. That's not right. That's not the word of God.
Well, pray for them. You got to pray for them. And just, because there's nothing you can do to change a person. You could, maybe tell them how you feel in love. That's definitely in the Bible. Like, you gotta, confrontation through love. but yelling at people, it never comes across right. Like, you just got to pray for people and give it to God. Cast your cares and burdens unto the Lord and keep it moving if you feel some type of way.
But Stacy, I'm bored and I have no life, and I just learned how to make a C4 bow.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Holla, holla. He might snap. I gotta get out of here.
But Stacy, I just bought this 22.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just bought this Desert Eagle.
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely an ongoing situation. I'm just really curious where our country is headed. I just feel like there hasn't been any room to really just breathe. Like, for people who actually pay attention to what's going on in the world, like the last, what is it, 2016, the last 6 years have been nonstop. Like, I feel like Trump, since he's been in office, he really ushered in a lot of hate, a lot of division, and there's a lot of counter movements going on. So it's just a lot of chaotic energy from every angle, you know. Oh, shoulders. So, like, we had
I
to.
do believe Trump was the devil or the demon in disguise, and he pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and he really brought out the negativity and
In the world.
the vision of people, and
Yeah,
also
like,
expose a lot of demons who live next door, and who became more open about their hate and their intolerance
yeah,
in every race, and it just created more division. And now that we have a new president who is too old to deal with to handle a situation after the devil, and so we're not recuperating
but he has no
fast and
power.
easy.
Like, it doesn't matter who's at the president. At this point, he can't do Joe Biden. He could be asleep all day long.
Joe,
It's nothing going on that he could do.
He could be falling off of bikes every day. He still won't be able to.
Yeah.
No, I hear you, but I feel like if we had like a Obama or Clinton or even the first George Bush, I think like we would have had a better handle.
Maybe some charisma to
to
rile up our spirits or something.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. Yeah, like,
because we needed somebody to bring the glue back.
We need some leadership, somebody who could tell us.
Sleepy Joe wasn't it.
Yeah, to tell us. But they thought it was gonna be Joe.
Well, we picked the lesser of two evils, is what we did.
Well, they thought he was gonna be a moderate, and they wanted somebody who would get the other side votes and all that stuff from Trump. So it is what it is. Like, we deterred Trump from a second term, because if he had another term, I could only imagine what Trump would have done. Like, I don't know if America would be America right now if Trump got a second term. Sheesh. I can't even imagine. But I was gonna say, like, he did definitely usher in like some craziness. And like, I was talking to my friend earlier today, and like, we both are very recreational. We like to go hiking, we like to bike, we like to do all that kind of stuff. But we both said, like, just kind of in the back of our minds, we don't feel as safe anymore. Like, we don't feel like, we just don't feel as safe to go out as single Black women and hike and bike ride.
I feel safe in your neighborhood. Your neighborhood is posh.
I don't know. I still feel some type of way, but I do love my neighborhood, but I do feel like some kind of way.
I don't feel safe in my neighborhood.
Man, you live in the city, boy. You live in the urban. You got that urban life popping. But so I don't know. We'll just have to continue to revisit this topic and see what unfolds next. But June 24th, 2022. Women have no rights over our bodies. We can't, like that's literally just what it is. And we can be arrested. We can be questioned for just what we decide to do with our bodies. And a lot of women are going to continue to get abortions, but maybe not
100%.
safe abortions. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be a lot of issues with this. Cause like what's crazy is my mom had these laws in place for most of her young adult life. And we had it for all of my life, but now we're going into a period of time where like my niece won't have the same protections as I will, or my mother. So it's just like a different, like, we don't even know what's going to happen. All I know is people better get out and vote this November and paint everything blue. Everything blue.
Yeah, a beautiful coworker of mine came in talking to. She said, not to me, but I was ear hustling. She said, she's like, did you hear? A gun has more rights than we do.
They do. They do. They
was
could
like,
go
what you
anywhere they
talking
want,
I just saw
especially in New
today
York.
I just saw today in Glendale, a store had a thing on their door, on their window, a retail store, had a sticker which I've only seen in Chicago with almost every store there. It says you can't carry guns here, or you can't openly carry guns in the store. And I was like, you can't do that anywhere in California.
Right.
What do you?
Yeah.
Why is this
Exactly.
sticker here?
Right. You could do it here. You could do it in Sacramento County.
Oh yeah, I know somebody personally who does it.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have to conceal and carry though.
Yeah,
You can't open carry.
Yeah, he's also military and he's trained. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters, but
yeah. So I don't
he's
know,
packing.
man. But I do kind of feel sorry for the people in New York. Like all you hear all the time is like how people,
Texas.
Yeah, how people just mind their business, but there's like so many crazy things happening, and there's already a lot of death going on in New York. So they were like, up, you guys couldn't carry in public. Like, do you really think that's gonna be a good idea with all the mentally ill people? You really think that's gonna deter crime?
I mean, maybe 50-50 it will, because if you see somebody pounding on an Asian lady, I'm gonna shoot his ass. I'm gonna
but what
because
if
you can't stop him if it's some big dude. You know what I'm saying? What if the old lady can carry some big black dude is beating on her? She pulls out the strap and puts 2 in his chest. Like now she's free of speed knots on her forehead. You know what I'm saying? Because she carried.
Yeah, but let's just hope, people are responsible and they go to the,
it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be crazy.
They should go to the shooting range, because like I can see a lot of innocent bystanders getting shot.
There should be psycho eval. There should be training, like extensive training, not just one class. There should be extensive training, which should be at a shooting range. Yes, all of that. It should be, maybe start out with a different kind of, a Glock first, and then Desert Eagle later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it should be levels.
I'm sure people got shot today. And then another thing, I think what's going to happen. Somebody probably did get shot today. They were like, right, shooting people for no reason.
In their apartment going like this, and they're like, you live below somebody else, bro.
And the thing is,
just kill somebody in the bathtub upstairs.
Okay. Exactly. And the thing too, though, it's like with that new law, people are going to, because like they're saying you could use your gun in self-defense or whatever. And
they open carry in Chicago. And Chicago, I mean, has been, I guess, more or less okay, right?
Why is it called Chirac then?
But that's inner cities, though, right? I'm talking.
Well, they still have.
They're going to carry anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that there's going to be a lot of court cases because,
Already court cases, they're probably behind. Like we are.
yeah, it's like our courts are going to be impacted because, or the New York courts will be impacted because, like, people are going to say, oh, or there's going to be a lot of wrongful deaths. Like, I just think some people are going to go too far and just start shooting people because they're crazy.
Just because you can open carry or carry conceal.
In New York, bro? Would you feel safe in LA if everybody was able to just have a gun?
Yeah, because I'm strapped up too. About to give me another
Man,
year.
what if everybody just started shooting and everybody's yelling, oh, self defense, or whatever, and everybody just starts shooting? That's
I think if
crazy.
we had more guns on the street with people who were sane, we would have less crime.
Yeah,
Because
but
the
people
people
aren't
having
sane.
crime,
We're just out of a pandemic. People aren't
shot.
sane.
Look, I'm just evil. Okay, some people just need to die. Okay,
Well, and I feel like
gotta
that's
keep
what
it
they're
100.
they're helping for
Huh?
people to do. I feel like that's what they're doing. They're helping people do
Sure,
that.
yeah.
Like I feel like they want us all just to kill ourselves.
Maybe why are we in LA? Why are we in New York? Maybe we should go somewhere else. Like what? Maybe we should some of us go to Ohio, Montana, Colorado. Maybe why are we in these big cities? You know what I'm saying? These big cities are horrible. It's horrible here.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff to do there. There,
Yeah, but but if we had more people in different cities that have less people, we could have stuff there because the population grew, right? So then we'll have more stuff there, right?
yeah, it would just take
That's what happened in
decades to.
Sacramento.
Yeah, it'll just take decades. I mean, like where I
It don't
live,
have to take decades. It
it
could take
took it took like 20 years to get where it's at right now.
what Sacramento? It, as long as the ball rolls, yeah,
Or
whatever it
whenever.
takes.
I've been here since '88, so it's
I mean,
it's
look how
taken a long
popular
time.
Ohio got, or was it Utah, Ohio? Because Dave Chappelle was over there, and he was able to
Right.
do like shows and stuff. But it took
Yeah,
one
but that's
person, it took one celebrity to bring up to have cool shows in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it takes.
yeah, man.
Get out the hood, get out the city, go somewhere where you can cultivate your skills and not worry about if there's going to be a homeless person sleeping on your couch when you get home, or in your driveway, or in your $2,000 apartment garage, like apartment garage. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? People living in these $3,000 studios, and across the street, literally like 2 feet away, there's a homeless person outside in
Yeah,
a tent.
and our government hasn't done anything to really help that situation. And they want to have more babies.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. Like it's like you guys just want America to fail, huh? You just want America to
Well,
fail.
they want you to have more babies, and they want to take welfare away, right? Or no?
Probably. I mean, I haven't heard that just yet. But I mean, yeah, the Republicans have always wanted to get rid of welfare programs. So,
I don't know, man. I just makes me want to go to Canada.
yeah, who knows? I don't know what the answer is, but we're
You don't
definitely
have the
not
answer,
going.
Sway.
Yeah, it's just not going in the right direction. We are a virus community. Our economy is trash.
Our
Women have
behavior is
no
trash.
rights.
Our young people are trash. They're not thinking right. Everything's trash. Our big cities are trash. People just aren't thinking. People are like one way thinking. It's funny when I talk to
I don't think
somebody.
people are thinking at all.
I think it's funny when you talk to somebody who has one perspective and stuck on that perspective for years, and then you offer them. Not only do you agree with them, but then you also give them the ultimatum, and they start. I see the gears start moving. It's like, yeah, I'm not trying to hate your philosophy. I'm just telling you there's something else, the afterworld. a world of so what do you say? Long living happiness. You could always see the day. But you could always see the light, day or night. Prince. But anyways,
Oh, I was like,
when you call up this
Prince?
Rick Beverly Hills, you're the one. Dr.
Oh.
All right. I don't think I got that right. So people just need a different perspective and they're not getting it because they're in their echo chambers.
Yeah, they're in their own little bubbles.
Exactly, or they're with their committee that's saying the same things in their group, and it's like, I don't know if you finished the web series, but if you finish the web series, there's a person with the race situation. She was subject to that, and then she grew up. You know what I'm saying? Or she saw things for herself, or she got educated and got older and just got tired. But it just takes one person to be like, yo, there's another perspective, and people aren't getting that. And that's why I want to be more educated. That's why I want to use this podcast. That's why I want to, talk to more people and just give them a different ultimate. Because to be honest, I do agree with probably more conservative ways than I do liberal ways, but I see both sides. So I can never be one. I can never be a religion. I could never be, a political party, because I just see both sides. I see everything. I'm open to everything.
Yeah, I'm just on the side of people just need to mind their business, and whatever policies we could put in place where people just mind their business and allow people to like literally make decisions for their own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You're telling me I have to have this baby?
But what if I tell you
this baby?
But what if I tell you something that information or suggestions that can make your life better? Would you heed it or keep going your route? What if I tell you something that tells you a way you could save more money or make more money? Would you listen to me, or would you say, mind your business, let me go my own way, let me figure out my own pay?
I mean, me personally, I would listen at this age, but there's a lot of people you will give advice to and they rather just go through it themselves than listen to another person. So
maybe those people, because I could think of like a lot of things like my dad said to me where I was like, man, I ain't listen to you, man. I'm doing my own thing, man. I'm Bishop, man. I do my own thing, son. I ain't you. Who you think you are? I'm your father. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And then I got older and I'm like, man, I should listen to my dad. And I tell him that all the time. I say, remember that time you said this? Play the piano, money, this job, military. I should have did all that shit. My hair. I should have did all that stuff. But I didn't because I was young and stupid and rebelling.
Yeah.
You know
well, no, I hear you. But the government, I feel like, or these particular factions of the government aren't looking out for our best interest with this particular law. Like, this law really is just making women have no power and over their lives.
But what's the point of that, though?
It's not helping us. It's not helping. What's
the point?
The point is America, the Constitution, the founding fathers, they made the laws based off of the times. They tried to make it, I think, not too specific, but a lot of it had to do with like master-slave relationships. Like the Constitution, I feel like the Constitution is flawed. Like
it's old.
Right, but
all that stuff is 1760.
Yeah, and that's literally what Justice Alito based his opinion on, was the 14th Amendment. Like, it's stupid, it's crazy. Like, it's based off of like slave laws, and it's just so racist. But that's what America is. Like, America was based off of trying to America got its wealth off of slave labor, so they're trying to get things back to slavery, and a lot of countries, and that's how America got its wealth, though. And the only way you could continue to be a slave in America is the 13th Amendment. that clause where if you basically going to prison, you go to prison, that's the way they could keep you, have slave labor. So that's why the prison industries and all that really had a major explosion, because that's how you can get free labor, is through the prison system.
That's why they were pushing the trap music and stuff.
Possibly.
That conspiracy that I do believe.
Yeah. So it's just, like some societies are patriarchies, some are matriarchs, you know what I'm saying? And like it's interesting. I was talking to somebody that I can't remember who it was, but there's a lot of societies where women are leaders in the society. And America is, yeah, exactly. Like women are respected and they run things.
Well, she's not respected. No, not that much, but keep going.
Yeah, but America is just is kind of behind. In America, they're founded off of white men in power, and that's what they want to keep it as.
White Christian men.
Yes, exactly. Nothing, anything else that deviates from that is not it. It's not great. It's not what they want. So, and that's just what it comes down to: money, power, respect.
Money, power, respect. Money,
and they're trying to. Oh, that might have to be the song. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Good job.
But it's true. Like everything comes down to that. Like everything. But anyways, this is carrying on. It's kind of long, but we'll definitely revisit as hopefully things go back or revert. I don't know, but I don't know how they're gonna do that, because
it's not gonna happen. This is it.
Yeah,
it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse.
And I was thinking, I was like, dang, I'm celibate. But you know what? Like now that I think about it, I did have this thought. I was like, I'm not having sex, but now I don't even know if I want to, because unless I'm with that person.
Yeah, that's how it should be. At least take time.
Because you don't want to have no slip ups.
Yeah, at least take the time, instead of going off a surface level. Men, us too, like we just hump everything that looks good, and we need to cut that out. We need to focus on ourselves. But that's another podcast.
Yeah, like our society is definitely sexually oriented. Everything is about sex. So
sexual healing.
So we'll see. But a lot of people don't have self-control, so I don't see this going too well for a while. But I hope so. I'm gonna pray on it.
You do that.
All right, you guys. Well, we're out. Thanks for listening. I thought you were gonna blow a whistle.